on him, and that's what the situation appears to be, as Bill Bergen gets a towel from the sideline and wipes the mud off of Mike Marzarella's face. Marzarella, the biggest of those interior linemen, 6'4", 235-pounder. He's a senior.
Shot of the Union cheerleaders, the visiting cheerleaders in this afternoon's contest.
Clock rolling, 1:20 left to play in the first half. The pitch goes to Stewart, steps around a potential tackler, and finally is driven out of bounds after a pickup of about a yard. The clock stops with 1:12 to play. 7-0 our score. Union scored with 6:27 left to play in the first half. Tony Stewart threw a 40-yard halfback option pass to Gary Mobley. Stewart then added the extra point. It's 7-0. You know, not only are the fans ringed out around Foley Field and, of course, packed in the stands, but in an adjacent athletic field that rises above Foley Field, there are people standing behind the fence.
That's right behind the scoreboard.
2nd and 9. Stewart with the call, and Stewart goes up the middle and finally is wrestled to the ground by Fred Matthews. Matthews, the only player standing between Stewart and the goal line. Stewart gets to the 45-yard line.
Let's take a look at the balance that Stewart demonstrates here. He cuts to his right, makes a cut. He just puts his head down, finds himself some running room, bounces off an attempted tackle, and takes the ball up the field and gets good yard. That's the kind of play he broke in the mud against Linden for a long touchdown.
That was a 60-yard touchdown. He also had a field goal in that game. Stewart, the leading ball carrier in the game so far, gets the call again. This time slips behind the line of scrimmage. Well, they'll mark him down back at the line of scrimmage, so we'll call it 2nd and 10.
He didn't get out of bounds, so the clock is still running. Union has a timeout left. They haven't used it. They do want to get some more points on the board, even if it's just a field goal.
They'll have to move much closer in order for them to go for the 3. As you see the clock in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. I'm sure they'll call a timeout after this if they get any kind of decent yardage. Stewart gets the call. Stewart looks to get outside. Look at that cut. And Stewart has a first down, and I'm sure we'll see the timeout now. And we get it called. 12 seconds left to play in the first half. Now, if they try the field goal, it's going to be a long one.
Well, but they're over on the firm part of the field. They're on that hash mark. It's where they want it to be. Stewart showed us there the kind of the shiftiness he had. He just gave a little juke fake over there on the sideline and cut inside, and a Montclair defender was just grabbing air.
Ball is at the 31-yard line. So it would be a 49-yard field goal attempt.
I want to make a point about the field conditions. It is not the state's decision on whether or not the game is played at the home site. It is the decision of the home team, in this case Montclair. So Butch Fortunato, the athletic director, was the man who had the responsibility of making the decision on whether or not the game should be played. He made the decision to play. You play football on every kind of field, and that is why the game is played today. The decision was made by the home team. In this case, it was Montclair.
And let's face it, as cold as it is, it wasn't going to be much better tomorrow. This water was not going to evaporate. It was only going to freeze tonight, melt again tomorrow.
The temperature is great. I mean, they would have been a lot worse off had they played on another weekend when the temperature is 20 degrees or even 30 degrees. It's a lot warmer here, and the temperature is not a factor on the coldness of the players.
Well, they're not going to go for the field goal. There's a loose ball, and DeGennaro finally falls on it, and time will expire here. 3 seconds left in the first half, and that will do it. So it's a 7-0 lead for the Montclair for the Union Farmers. Tony Stewart passing to Gary Mobley for the touchdown. 7-0 is our score. Union on top. We'll be back. Stay with us. In 1982, Union defeated Montclair 14-7 for the North Jersey Section 2 Group 4 title, and they were led that year by a trio of running backs with Keith Peace pacing the attack. Gordon Jones and Quincy Brooks both provided substantial contributions to a 10-1 Union club, and that was the first meeting between these two teams in the final. And right now, You're watching the 4th consecutive meeting between these two teams in the state championship. And since the playoff formula was instituted in New Jersey, these are the Section 2 Group 4 champions. Morristown beat Bloomfield in that very first meeting. That was 1974, Barringer in 75, and then Westfield winning consecutive titles in 76 and 77. The title stayed in Union County as Union won back-to-back championships in 78 and 79. West Essex was the 80 champion, followed by Elizabeth in 81. And then Union and Montclair have traded positions. 82 it was Union, 83 Montclair. Last year it was Union, and this year Union holds a 7-0 lead as we prepare for the start of the second half. Al, we touched upon it briefly at halftime, discussing what we feel Jack Davies told his team at halftime. What did Lou Rattino tell his kids?
Well, I think Lou said, we're playing a good ball game. We're ahead. We can't afford to allow Montclair to get momentum. They're a very dangerous club. We've got to move the ball. We can move the ball on the ground, keep the ball away from Montclair. This game is going to be decided on the breaks in the second half. The score is not that wide. Either one of these teams can still win. Both clubs, the kids on both clubs know it. They know they're in the game. They know they can win, and they're fired up in the second half.
Tony Stewart will kick off. Pat Frazier and Erwin Sampson are back deep to receive the kickoff. Second quarter touchdown pass from Stewart to Mobley, giving Union the 7-0 lead.
The sun has shone, and it has melted the snow and ice that we had in the morning here.
And the third quarter is underway. And that goes out of bounds. And it used to be that the ball was brought to the 40. Now we just do it again from 5 yards back. That used to be a tremendous advantage for an offense. If the kick went out of bounds, the ball was brought to the 40, and you had it 1st and 10. Now it's just a 5-yard penalty, and so Stewart will tee it up from the 35.
Stewart hesitated a little bit before he addressed the ball after the whistle. Usually the whistle blows and the kicker runs up and kicks. That time Stewart just held back a little bit, and he may have been concerned about the footing. He didn't get a good foot into the ball, and he's going to get a chance to do it again. The Montclair High School cheerleaders.
They haven't given up, quite obviously. No need to. It's only a 7-0 ball game. And this is going to go out of bounds again. It'll be another 5 yards. So we'll go back to the 30-yard line. And this can't make Lou Rattino too excited on the far sideline. He's got to be a little nervous.
It's not a good way to start the second half. He was kicking from the hash marks because that's where the footing was. Now he's moved the tee in about 5 or 6 yards. Let's look at his reaction to this kick. He shanked it off to the right. Oh, no.
Well, now Frazier and Sampson have moved up to the 15-yard line. And chances are, barring a total breakdown by the Mounties, they'll have very good field position with which to start the third quarter.
Stewart has brought the ball further towards the middle of the field. He has a little better footing there now.
Well, they say good things come in threes. Let's see if they do. This is a short kick. Now remember, this is a free ball, so someone has to pick it up, and Sampson does at the 23. And Sampson is drilled down to the turf as he crosses the 40-yard line. Knocked to the ground by Mike Wakefield. Gary Mobley, or excuse me, Tony Stewart was the one who came up to make the stop, and then Wakefield drilled him to the ground.
Tony Stewart made the hit.
Well, Montclair has had fair field position, nothing spectacular, and the Union defense has shut them down. This, the best field position of the afternoon from which they start a drive. Ball at the 42-yard line. And the handoff goes to Mafucci, and Mafucci struggles forward to the 49-yard line.
Let's get a look at it. Montclair is using that lead blocker into the line. Mafucci follows him. A great job of blocking. The ball was loose. He pulled it back in. It was a good job of blocking by, I think it was Todd Anderson that put the block down, and Mafucci just followed him right through there.
2nd and 3. Pat Frazier gets the call, and he has a first down into Union territory. Joe Purcell comes up from the bottom of the pile.
Montclair drove like this in the beginning of the game and gave the ball up when they had 2 miscues, a fumble of the snap, a fumble in the backfield. The back fell down, wasn't there for the handoff. They gave up yardage. Montclair has started the second half in excellent shape, got themselves good field position after 2 kickoffs went out of bounds, moved the ball for initial first down. Montclair has gotten the momentum.
1st and 10, 47-yard line. They fire, complete to Matthews, and it's a foot race. Fred Matthews in a foot race with Chris Colbert. Touchdown. Montclair is within a point of tying this game up.
Will they go for the tie is another decision that Jack Davies has to make. There aren't going to be too many touchdowns, but boy, they really broke off that look-in pass. Matthews did the thing that we knew he could do. Union had stopped him up until this point. Let's get a look at it. Riddick, a little fake dive, throws the look-in. Matthews just beats the defender, and he's off to the races. Very bad left knee, but nothing's going to keep him out of the end zone.
And it looks like they're going to go for 2. Matthews, a 47-yard touchdown reception, his 8th TD catch of the year.
A gutsy call by Jack Davies here. Very, very gutsy.
Power I formation. Matthews now goes in motion. They're going to throw. They have Matthews, and he gets it. Mobley was out there, could only stop him momentarily. Matthews dives in. He might be hurt again.
Is that a flag on the field, Matt?
Might be. It might be a flag. It may have been after the play. Then again,
it's a streamer from...
that's what it is.
From halftime. But I'll tell you one thing. Montclair gambled. They had the play called. They had that play. They practiced it during the week. They knew that if they needed 2 or 3 little yards, they could get Matthews out there. He comes through, and this sideline for Montclair is wild.
Jack Davies is excited. You see the team on the sideline, hands pumped into the air toward the Montclair supporters. Again, half the stands, because the majority of the stands are on this side. The larger portion of the stands are on the near side of the field. Half are filled with Montclair supporters, half filled with Union supporters. And there was a large gap separating the two, but there's not much of a space anymore as they've mingled together.
You know, Jack Davies could have gone for the tie because there is a provision in the state playoff formula that goes into overtime with tie ball games. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to gamble. It would have been a very, very drastic gamble had he failed. But he took the gamble with a lot of guts. He got the 2 points, and now he's ahead of Union.
Scott Egan to kick off. It's a short kick, handled by one of the upbacks. Loose ball. I think the defense might have it. Montclair has... Mark Richards fielded the punt, or the kickoff, one of the up men. The ball came free once. We'll see it. It'll pop free. And he gets it, and now it comes loose again. And finally, the ball is fallen on, and it looks like it was Robert Paulus who fell on the kick. It was caused by Fabio Apolito, who caused the ball to come free. Mark Richards fumbling the ball. Ball at the 27-yard line. Riddick hands off to Mafucci. Mafucci gets to the 24-yard line before he is sent back.
Montclair is running that little inside dive play with the lead back. The halfback will come in and screen off to the inside, and Mafuji, the fullback, will just go off his tail and find the daylight on the outside. The inside running game for Montclair.
9:44 left to play in the third quarter. Montclair has jumped out in front at the start of this third quarter. They lead 8-7. They have the ball at the 24. Riddick under a rush, loss a floater that bounces incomplete. McEnroe, and I think that might be Urusi.
Matthews was behind the safety back there. Mobley had looked at the fake. Here's the fake. Now, they ran that play twice. He didn't have the footing. A great job of blitzing by the outside linebackers for Union. Joe Purcell put the pressure that prevented that long pass.
It was Purcell, not Urusi, who made first contact on third down. They go up the middle, and Mafuji almost has the ball ripped away from him. He's holding on for dear life as Dale Jackson almost stripped him of the ball. It'll be fourth down and short.
Mafuji on that last play carried the ball at his knees. He had his arms dragged down, and he just was holding the ball like a loaf of bread at his knees as he went down. A timeout by the officials.
An official's timeout has been taken. One of the Union defensive linemen having some mud cleared off his face. Might be McEnroe. He's the tallest of their linemen, and that's who it looks like it is, 83, Anthony McEnroe. He's 6'3", 210 pounds. Only a junior. He wears a size 15 shoe, and Lou Rattino says his potential is unlimited. Fourth and short, they'll go for it. Burke gets the call. Ooh, he is awfully close. Second effort, he breaks through the middle, but that won't be a touchdown. They'll bring it back. Let's see where they mark his forward progress. It's either a Montclair first down or a Union first down.
Union has got to put it together defensively here. They've given up a touchdown. There's another timeout called by the officials. Might be for a measurement.
That's what it is.
They've given up a touchdown, and now Montclair is knocking on the door again. They've got to get together defensively.
This is a very, very important measurement. A first down, and Montclair continues their momentum. If they are short of the first down, Union takes over, and they get a bit of a break. Looks like he's got it, and he's got it by less than the length of the football.
Let's get a look at it. Here's the handoff. You notice that there are backs leading the way, and he gets stopped, but he keeps falling forward. Now here, somebody from Union drives him. The whistle is blown, and the defenders let up, and he runs into the end zone, but the whistle had blown. He followed his blocking very, very well and got that first down.
First and 10 from the 17-yard line. 8:47 left to play in the third quarter. Frazier, the junior tailback, gets the call. He's down to the 14-yard line.
Dale Jackson, the defensive end for the Farmers, crashed across and made the hit from the backside. And he's trying to fire up the rest of that Union defense. There's Lou Rattino and his staff, very, very concerned at this point.
On second down, Matthews going in motion. Handoff to Mafuji, and the fullback gets down close to the 10-yard line. It almost looked like a busted play, as if Riddick turned and ran into Mafuji. They got the handoff off fairly cleanly, and Mafuji just bowled his way.
Mafuji is just, I'll tell you, he is like the perfect back in this mud. He doesn't take long strides. He takes short, choppy steps. He keeps his balance. They crashed into each other in the first half, and that ended up in a loss of yardage that stopped the first Montclair drive. That time they banged into each other. Mafuji just kept his feet chugging and went up the middle for some yardage.
On third down, they go on a counter to Burke, and Stephen Burke is down to the 6-yard line, and that will be a first down, first and goal. Burke, the small senior, 5'6", 145-pounder again, has been hurt by 2 sore ankles. Otherwise, his senior year could have been a tremendous one, but he has been held back because of the injured ankles.
Montclair continuing to roll. The stands are cheering and yelling. It might be a good turn for a timeout for Union, and exactly what we get. A defensive timeout. Good call by Coach Lou Rattino. He's on the 5-yard line. He's got to get this defense into a goal line defense to stop the offensive thrust of Montclair.
Al, I'm amazed year in and year out. In fact, from season to season, as we switch from football to basketball, into baseball and lacrosse and all those spring sports, how quickly momentum can change. Now, a 7-0 lead at halftime is nothing to get overly excited about if you're Union, nothing to be overly upset about if you're Montclair. But Montclair takes the opening kickoff, and the momentum started to swing on those 2 muffed kicks by Stewart, which went out of bounds, forcing him to kick from the 30. They got good field position. They strike quickly to Matthews on the touchdown. They recover the ensuing kickoff on a fumble, and now they're on the doorstep, and they can go from down 7-0 to up minimum 14, perhaps 15 or 16-0 with about 7 minutes to play in the third quarter. As we looked at that graphic, just a tremendous tradition here at Montclair High School, and looking for another unbeaten season. Be their 13th since 1940.
You're right, Matt. I'm personally amazed at the way the offensive line from Montclair has pushed Union around.
Pitch goes to Todd Anderson, and he's nailed behind the line of scrimmage. He stays in bounds, so the clock continues to roll. Dale Jackson, Joe Purcell making the stop. Gary Mobley came up for good measure.
The Union fans and the Union players have not experienced throughout the year, even in the Elizabeth game, the kind of offensive thrust that this Montclair Mountie line is putting up against that forward defensive wall for Union. They're being pushed around a little bit now.
Again, we get motion from the Montclair team. Matthews comes in motion near side. First time he's done that. They go on the counter inside. Frazier bounces off a couple of people, gets down near the goal line. He'll be marked at the 2-yard line. It'll be 3rd and goal from the 2. We should point out that Union may not have met an offensive team like this Montclair Mountie team. They've also only been behind twice. This is only the 2nd time all year they've been behind. In their playoff game against Elizabeth, a 34-3 victory, they fell behind 3-0 before they came back to score the next 34 points. So this is a somewhat unfamiliar position for them. He did not get in. Frazier got the call. He's down to the 1. 4th and goal from the 1.
He's got to go for it. I don't think he can afford the luxury of a field goal attempt. Let's get a timeout, talk this one over.
Well, Fred Matthews will come out and ask for a timeout. And Jack Davies will follow his senior captain onto the field.
Jack Davies came on the scene last year, replacing Butch Fortunato, and stands in the shadow of Clary Anderson and the rest of those great Montclair coaches. They've only had 6 head coaches in football since the beginning of starting the sport at Montclair. And last year his team had difficulty learning his system. They didn't have difficulty, but they had to learn it. And they did very, very well, as did many of his assistant coaches. They were learning the Jack Davies system, and this club learned it very, very well, and now they're executing it, and he's got a great deal to be proud of, Jack Davies, the Montclair coach.
Head coach at Butler High School for 17 years. In those 17 years, he compiled a record of 128 wins, 24 losses, and 2 ties. He's now 17-3-1 at Montclair High. Well, 4th and goal from the 1. Let's see what they do. They'll go to Frazier, and he will not get in. Frazier gets the call. Mobley, the safety, came up, filled the gap, made the hit in the backfield. And let's see if this provides a spark for the Union Farmers.
It's a 6-5 goal line defense. Mobley comes flying across and just makes the stop at the crucial moment, and Union has dodged the bullet, but they're back on their own goal line, and they've got to get the ball out of there. Here's the intensity of the fans. Everybody standing up and pointing fingers and yelling and
having a good time. That's what high school athletics is all about. They'll run from the I formation. Stewart gets the call, and he maybe loses a yard on the play.
Remember
Oh,
that
boy.
Montclair has scored defensive touchdowns at will. They've scored 8 of them over the course of the 10 ball games they've played. They love to score defensive touchdowns. They concentrate on defense, and they love to play defense against the run. Union, on the other hand, does not like to throw the ball. They like to stay really in the shadow of the post.
And 11. Pitch goes to Stewart, and Stewart breaks the tackle. Boy, that was almost a safety. He was hit in the end zone, but kept his balance. A talented running back, kept his feet moving, and brought it out to the 4-yard line.
Twice he was hit behind his own line of scrimmage, once in the end zone, and he just kept his balance and kept his desire to get out of there. Brought the ball forward for a couple of yards.
4:35 now left to play in the third quarter. Montclair leads 8-7. One man in the backfield, that's Stewart. They have 3 wide receivers. Pass is complete to Vigent, the tight end. It'll be a first down, but we have a flag on the play. Up here next to us, we have some of the Montclair assistants, and they seem to feel that there was movement on the Union Farmers. There was. Procedure called against Montclair will negate that first down and make them try it again, and they'll mark it half the distance to the goal.
It was a great play call by Union. What they did was they had a one-back offense. They left Stewart in the backfield, put 2 backs out to the left. The linebackers for Montclair had to move out to cover the look-in. They came back to the tight end on the quick look-in on the short side and got themselves first down yardage. Unfortunately for Union, they were in motion, and they've got to do it all over again.
3rd and 10. Firing it complete. DeGennaro has his man. A sliding catch made.
Take a look at the view from the end zone. DeGennaro dropping straight back, no fake. Stewart runs through the middle. He gets pressure. Look at the catch. A sliding catch. Who was that? It's hard to tell who it was.
It was Chris Colder.
Chris Colder, the 6-foot, 180-pound senior for the Farmers. This game has had some critical plays. That is one of them.
1st and 10 from the 17-yard line. The pitch goes to Stewart, and Stewart is brought down by Thad Diggs as he gets near the 20-yard line.
Again, there's a little bit of a difference here defensively for Montclair. I think they know that Stewart wants to run on the grass. He doesn't want to run on the mud. Now, the grass is the short field to Union's left and to Montclair's right, and the mud is the long field to Montclair's left. Let's see how they defend it. They've moved the linebacker or the monster back over to the wide field in the mud.
2nd down, they'll go to Stewart. He'll try to go off tackle, and boy, he almost broke it. Carl Snipes held on for dear life, otherwise Stewart was gone.
Snipes, the 5'7", 160-pound senior. Watch this. He gets one finger on Stewart's shirt, and that makes the difference. Stewart crashes through a couple of tackles. Look at Snipes hanging on. Took a ride, but made the stop. Union now gaining momentum.
Ball at the 37-yard line. Stewart close to 100 yards once again. By far the leading ball carrier in the game. He'll get the call. And boy, he's just so tough to bring down. You know, he's not one of those running backs like a scat back at all. He's got good size. He's 6'1", 185, 190 pounds. So not only does he have the speed, but he's a load to try and bring down.
Well, he takes short steps when he needs them and long steps when he needs them. That time, he took a little stutter step to get his footing and saw the little opening to his right, made the cut. The ball's in the middle of the field. You'll watch the Montclair defense adjusts to the tight end.
2nd and 5.
Montclair will bring Jeff Mills over against the tight end every time.
Flag has been thrown as they go to the fullback. Dillon hasn't been very active today, at least in the running capacity. Been used primarily as a blocking back. He is the 3rd leading rusher on the team. And we have a 5-yard penalty for illegal procedure. And it will be marked off against Union.
Very uncharacteristic
Yes.
of Union this season. They have not hurt themselves with motion and procedure penalties, and here they are in a critical ball game, making the kind of mistakes that can really hurt you and take you out of the ball game. Those 5-yard penalties kill a drive. Very, very important, especially against a team like Montclair. There you see the penalties: 7 for Union for 33 yards, 2 for Montclair for 20 yards. But if you make those mistakes against a defense like Montclair's and you're on a field like this, you can't win a ball game.
They go with the run one setback. They fire a pass for Stewart coming out of the backfield. He's met immediately as he makes the catch. He is short of a first down. Fred Matthews making the stop, coming up from the safety position to make the tackle. It'll be 3rd down and about 4.
Here we see the leading scorer in the state tackled by the leading scorer in Essex County. Stewart demonstrates that he can catch the ball, and Matthews demonstrates that he can make a hit.
Good solid tackle by Matthews. You saw he had both arms wrapped around the legs of Tony Stewart. 3rd down. Boy, they go to Stewart. Stewart is short, so he gets to the 45-yard line. It'll be 4th down and about 3. And this might be a little too far to go for Lubertino.
He's got to punt. There goes the punting team. They've made a decision.
Stewart is the punter, don't forget. Is it too early to try a bit of a fake out? Field position not good enough?
I think it is too early, Matt, and I think that the footing isn't real good to try a fake punt. Unless on the fake he hands it to someone who has already started running. You know, like on a Statue of Liberty type of thing.
42 seconds left to play in the 3rd quarter. Short punt, and who will take it? Sampson at his 31. And he gets up to about his 35-yard line. So Montclair will take over, leading by a point, 8-7. 29 seconds left to play in the 3rd quarter. I'm Matt Laughlin along with the Dr. Al Reynoso. We hope you're enjoying this game from Foley Field in Bloomfield between the Montclair Mounties and the Union Farmers.
Well, there's a whole lot of folks enjoying this game. The place is packed. They're 4 deep at the fences.
And Mafucci getting the call and just gets thrown into a pile of mud. But you know, we forget sometimes these are 16 and 17-year-old kids. Now, I'm not so sure he liked that in particular, but they don't mind playing in the mud. Their moms and dads have been calling them in from playing in the mud all their lives.
It's like a laundry commercial, you know. Try our detergent. We cleaned up this uniform.
Well, the 3rd quarter has come to an end, and Montclair clinging to a 1-point lead. It is 8-7. We'll come back with the final 15 minutes of regulation after this. He was named the High School Defensive Player of the Year by USA Today. He now attends Penn State University, where he plays for the #1 ranked Nittany Lions. And he's got one more game to play. He'll travel down to Florida for his final game, playing on the specialty teams. He'll be playing in the Orange Bowl. And he also is a reserve tight end, although Jack Davies tells me that they have designs as a linebacker for Quintus McDonald. On 2nd down, loose ball as Riddick falls on it. And so it will be 3rd down and about 6. 3rd quarter statistics. And Montclair has taken over the total yards lead, even in rushing at 95 apiece. And they've got the lead in passing by 6 yards. Of course, that big pass, 47 yards to Fred Matthews, accounting for their touchdown.
The officials are doing a great job of making sure that these players are ready to play every time the ball is snapped. They're wiping mud out of the eyes of all the players that have requested it. They've been very good about giving timeouts without charging them to the team. They want to make sure everybody plays the best and have the best possible conditions considering the circumstances. And they're bringing Riddick over to deal with whatever the problem is. Mafucci on the sideline is covered with mud. You know, another thing, Matt, is that the sun has gone down, and now these guys that are soaking wet are also getting very, very cold. The cold has become more of a factor than it was earlier. He's got a piece of dirt in the eye, and if they don't wash it out, he's going to be irritated. Meanwhile,
Frank Quazzo has come on.
Quazzo, the nephew of the famous Gary Quazzo, at quarterback.
He's a junior. The handoff goes to Frazier, and Frazier has a first down. Big burst of speed by Pat Frazier gets him up across the 45-yard line, and it is a Montclair first down.
Frank Quazzo, the junior quarterback at 6', 190, has seen some action this season because Montclair has blown out some of their opponents. And Jack Davies, looking to the future, has given him some time taking snaps during varsity games.
He's also taken snaps for most of practice this week because Riddick was out with the flu. And with a new quarterback in, Union anticipating the snap count, used to Riddick's call, and Quazzo crossed them up.
Quazzo moved his head and shoulders. I almost had a flashback to his uncle, Gary Quazzo, who played at Glen Ridge High School, was an all-state player, and went on to Virginia, and later on played for the Baltimore Colts and threw 6 touchdown passes in one game against Minnesota.
1st and 5. Ball just in Union territory. 10:49 left to play in the game. And Frazier gets the call and gets a couple. Riddick may be coming in shortly. He's got his helmet back on. Apparently the mud has been cleared out of his eyes. And I would believe that Jack Davies feels more comfortable with his senior starter in there rather than Quazzo.
Union's defense trying to get it together. They can't afford to allow Montclair to drive on the clock and on the field. 10 minutes left in the ball game.
Loose ball. Ball loose at the 50. Some of the Union players saying they have it, but a Mountie has fallen on it. Stephen Burke recovering the loose ball.
And that's it for Quazzo. Jack Davies has seen enough of the junior in there.
Stephen Burke coming off saying, boy, it's muddy out there. I'm glad I recovered the ball, but somebody get me a towel.
So Riddick comes back. 3rd and about 6.
3 sports star has trouble with the snap on a broken play, is driven out of bounds back to the 47-yard line. It'll be 4th down and a punting situation. Riddick plays basketball and lacrosse at Montclair. Both of those sports highly successful athletic endeavors here at Montclair. In fact, lacrosse is the 2-time state champion. Matthews on for his first punt of the day. So apparently his leg's okay. They don't want to go with Egan anymore. High snap, he handles it. Fair catch signaled for by Mobley. And Union has the ball just inside their 30-yard line. They trail by a point. We have less than 10 minutes to play.
And the fact that Montclair has had tremendous success in lacrosse. They have had a great season so far in their soccer program has done very, very well. They've had real good success in their field hockey team. They've had a great year so far.
We'll mention their accolades in just a moment. Going with the single running back in Stewart. They have 3 wide receivers. There's a loose ball. DeGennaro picks it up, but his knee was on the ground. And so he's down to where he picked it up. It's 2nd down and a loss on the play of about a half a yard. Well, in boys gymnastics, Montclair won the North Jersey championship. In field hockey, they were Essex County champion. all won conference championships. And the football team out here looking for a state title. Again, an official's time called. It's a player has some mud cleared off of his face.
That last play, Union lined up in their passing offense, their single back offense. Some coaches call that the ace back offense with only one man. They have thrown from that offensive set. Montclair is aware of it. Whether Montclair is conditioned to it might be an opportunity for them to hand the ball to Stewart. Here it is, the ace formation.
From the 29-yard line, second down again. Trouble with the snap, and Stewart struggles forward and gains about a yard. So DeGennaro and Sala having some trouble with the snap.
Substitution made by Montclair. Looked like an injury to Charles Gibbs.
Nose tackle will be looked at on the sideline. Terrence Carroll has come in to replace him.
By the way, it's exactly what Union did. They did run the draw, giving the ball to Stewart from the ace offense.
On third down, DeGennaro will fire a pass for Mobley, and Mobley breaks the tackle of Quazzo, and he will be short of a first down. Clock continues to roll. He did not get out of bounds.
Good job by Mobley after he received the ball, getting rid of the first defender that put his arms around him. He just did a little wiggle and got free and turned up the field a little bit. Got close to that first down. Not close enough. I'd be surprised if Union gambles and goes for first down here.
Well, it looks like they may very well do it.
Taking a lot of time. Now there's a timeout called.
And the timeout's going to be called by Montclair. Well, it looked like at the last moment Stewart was stepping back toward punt formation. Now there's a player who needs a clean uniform. That's Carl Snipes.
He's wearing Foley Field. And here comes Lou Rotino. Very, very important situation. 7.5 minutes left in the ball game. Down by 1. Fourth and a long yard to go. They had lined up as if to punt. There's the 1985 Watchung Conference Championship team, ranked number 3 in the country by one national periodical. By the way, these two clubs, Union, ranked number 1 in the New York metropolitan area by the New York Daily News, and Montclair ranked number 3 by that periodical, or number 4, which would mean that this game may affect the trophy for the best team in the area.
Okay, these two teams are ranked 1 and 2. Union first, Montclair second in the TV3 top 10.
They're going for it.
Fourth down and short. Well, no surprise as to who gets the call. It's Stewart, and Stewart might break this one for a touchdown. He's got Fred Matthews to beat, and Stewart's going to go in for the score.
Unbelievable. Everybody knew he was going to get the ball. They couldn't stop him. This is what this kid has done for his entire career at Union High School. He just does it every time he gets the opportunity. He finds a way to be a factor in the ball game.
62 yards for the touchdown. His 26th rushing touchdown of the year.
Here's the cut. He makes that inside cut, and he accelerates as soon as he hits the grass. He was running on mud. He got to the grass, and he was gone. And you see the fans along the sidelines signaling the touchdown before he gets close enough to get it.
So, Tony Stewart has given this club a big lift, and the Union Farmer fans celebrating in the stands. The Farmer team celebrating on the sidelines. 7:14 left to play in the game.
The fortunes of war tilt from one side of the stadium to the other. And now the Union sideline is going wild, and the Montclair fans who are yelling and screaming and whooping it up now are very, very quiet. That was the play that Stewart has been successful with all year. We saw it even at halftime. We ran some clips of him against Rawway. He goes around the outside and he finds the cut and he sees the lane, he goes. But there's Jack Davies, and he knows he's not out of this ball game, and this is a very, very important conversion. They're going for 2.
Union will go for 2. Clarence Mars is the player in there with the clean jersey. They fake to Mars. They fire a pass for Mobley. He dropped it. Mobley had it on the edge of his fingertips, and he dropped it as he hit the ground. And the score stays 13-8, and now a touchdown by itself could give the victory to Montclair. They don't even need to try the conversion. 13-8 the score, 7:14 left to play.
Another critical play. That might be the one that haunts Union. Should Montclair come up and score a touchdown, they've got time. 7:14. They can throw the ball. They have the guns to throw, and they might have to go to the throwing offense at this point in the ball game. Union to kick off.
There was a snowball thrown on the field, and I have to say I'm kind of happy as to why this happened. The fans have gotten all over the fellow who threw the snowball, and he's kind of surrounded by some of the fans, and it's good to see. There's no need for him to throw that snowball. In fact, it was more of an ice ball. Childish act by a gentleman in stands, not a high school student either. Short kick by Stewart. A little bit of a mishandle, picked up by Sampson finally. Ooh, and Sampson breaks a couple of tackles, still on his feet. He's done a good job returning kicks today, Al. He's out near the 30-yard line.
You know, they say you've got to field punts and you've got to field kickoffs. Otherwise, you're not going to get the kind of returns you want. And this young man has done a great job. He hasn't had the footing to be able to come up and make the catch, but he has done well fielding it off the turf and bringing it up. And I use the word turf advisedly.
Broke a couple of tackles, still marching forward as he gets to the 30. We have an official's timeout taken as Tony Stewart is changing from his kicking shoe into his normal football playing spikes.
That's something that some of the coaches are going to address, I believe, the time that kids take to change shoes. It's bad enough that they wrap all these things around their ankles when they kick the ball, but now they're changing shoes and it's causing time to be wasted. There's the scoring drive, 4 plays, 70 yards, 3 runs, 1 pass, 62-yard run for Stewart.
Riddick is snowed under. He faked the handoff up the middle, and 2 players were waiting for him, McEnroe and Richards.
Got to look at it. I don't know if it was a fake or just a missed handoff, but he came around on a naked bootleg and got clocked by the left side of the Union defense. Union is definitely fired up now. They're ahead in the ball game, and their defense is playing inspired football.
Second down and 13. Riddick rolling out. Fires incomplete, looking for Matthews. The ball slipped out of his hands. Matthews was covered by Stewart.
And this is the problem now. Keeping Riddick's hands, look at him, he's trying to not just warm his hands, but he's trying to dry his hands. The ball is fresh into the ball game, but the ball gets snapped from the center who's got mud on his hands to the quarterback who's going to try not to have mud on his hands. And if he does, he can't get the grip on the ball that he needs. And Montclair now has gone to a passing offense.
He's completed just 2 passes, one of them for a touchdown. Riddick under a rush, fires, incomplete. Almost intercepted by Richards. Mobley was out there also on the coverage. Either one of them could have had it. Richards had the better opportunity.
Let's take a look at it. Richards dropping off at the linebacker spot, following that back out of the backfield, jumping up, 1 hand, 2 hands, and it pops out. Would have been a nice play for Union. They would have definitely stopped the drive. Got the ball. Here they are fielding a punt.
Matthews to punt. Fair catch signaled for by Stewart. He'll let it bounce. And it is touched at the 47-yard line. It hit a player before it was finally ruled down at the 45. So they said, well, we got to move it back 2 yards because it did touch somebody.
There's a shot of the Union crowd on this side of the field, blowing horns, yelling and screaming. There's Lou Rotino. His heart has got to be going 1,000 miles an hour. It's just a very, very exciting situation. He's ahead, and now he's got to move the ball and move the clock. The clock is the factor now. 5 minutes and 40 seconds and counting.
And they'll go to Stewart. Stewart doesn't quite get back to the line of scrimmage. Loss on the play. It'll be second down and about 10 and a half. Pitch to Stewart. And Stewart gets about 3. It'll be third down and long. Gets up to the 49-yard line. And Sampson and Charles Gibbs in on the stop.
Stewart runs that pitch sweep with great precision. He receives the ball. He knows that's the most important thing is to catch the ball. Then, after he has looked the ball into his hands, he'll look up the field to see where that cut is. 24 rushes, 160 yards, 6.7. He's been averaging a little less than 10 yards a carry. It was 4.4 at the half, and now he's extended it to 6.7.
You know, we were talking before the game, Al, you and I, and we were saying, boy, it's too bad the field conditions really won't give the fans watching the game here in person or on TV an opportunity to see these great players in action, but Stewart has certainly responded. High pitch, he slips and falls behind the line of scrimmage, and so it will be a punting situation. 4:12 left to play. The clock continues to roll.
There'll be a timeout here for the 4-minute warning.
No, because it's an official clock, it'll just continue to roll.
Right.
They only give the 4-minute warning when the time is being kept on the field, but for a state final, we have official scorekeeper. Jack Davies is in the middle of that pile somewhere. There he is, peering out. The glasses and the blue Montclair High School baseball-style cap on. Stewart to punt, standing at about his 33. And now we have an official timeout taken because they're trying to drive the ball off.
Greg Sola, the center for Union, did a very, very intelligent thing. He leaned over the ball. Before he put his hands on it, he said to the official, please dry this off. There's too much mud on it.
And that's going to cost Union, or excuse me, Montclair 5 yards. They're a little over-anxious.
Might be Union. Union looked like they moved.
Well, let's see what the call is. I thought it was encroachment on the defense.
And I thought it was illegal motion on the offense. What do you think of that? And I'm wrong. No, I'm right.
I think you're right, Al.
It looked like the left guard straightened up a little too quickly, and then the Montclair kid reacted to it. But nevertheless, it's 5 yards against Union, and as we said before, every little piece of territory in this mud against these kinds of defenses help.
3:34 to play. The clock now begins to run. This will be returned by Sampson from his 29-yard line. Erwin Sampson makes a nice move, a nice cut to get it up to the 38-yard line. And so 62 yards separates Montclair from the end zone, and a touchdown that would give them the lead and quite possibly the championship. They trail 13-8 with 3:19 left to play in the game.
And no one has made a move toward the exits.
Can't blame them. Go to the air. It's tipped and almost picked off. They were looking for Fred Matthews. Tipped at the line of scrimmage and almost picked off.
Hard to tell who it was that stuck his hand up. I'd take a guess at Anthony McEnroe, the 6'3", 210-pound defensive end, who stuck his hand up there. He's a big kid.
Somebody with a muddy jersey. How about that? Clock stops with the incompletion. 3:04 to play in regulation. Meredith goes in motion. They throw a screen for Coates, the tight end. And Coates has a first down and more. The ball comes free and it hits the official. And who recovered it? There's a flag on the field. Let's see who has recovered the ball. It looks like Montclair has recovered it. There is a flag down. We'll have to see what that's about. The ball was recovered by Montclair. And now let's check out the penalty. Face mask against Montclair, against Union.
Wayne Coates took that pass and started rumbling. All of a sudden, he found himself free of defenders. A couple of guys took a shot at him. Let's get a look at it. Here he is on the screen. Now he turns upfield, and he gets grabbed by someone.
There's the face mask.
He finds himself clear. There's the face mask ball.
The ball came loose there.
Ball came loose. Anyway, the sum total is the fact that the ball is to the 35-yard line, and Montclair is starting to roll. 2:44 and counting.
They'll go to the air. Riddick fires a pass, incomplete, looking for Burke out of the backfield. There were 3 Union farmers near him.
Riddick looked like he could have just kept that ball and swept up the sideline for some pretty decent yardage. He got himself outside of the Union containment. The Union linemen are getting a little tired, and now is the time for Riddick to start rolling out wide and taking advantage of his option to either throw the ball or run it around.
Matthews comes split to the near side. Riddick firing, looking for Matthews. He's got him inside the 20-yard line to the 15.
And again, Riddick gets dumped on his backside by the Union defensive lineman, but not in time to prevent him from getting the ball downfield to Matthews. And this is coming down to the wire. Let's take a look at it. A little fake by Riddick. He looks at Matthews coming downfield. Matthews makes a catch, all covered with mud, with somebody hanging on him. Looked like Mobley. And Montclair has moved the ball down outside the 15-yard line.
They marked him down at the 16. 1st and 10. 2:11 and counting to play.
Come on, baby.
Riddick fires, complete. Peter Misha, no, they say he did not come up with the catch. Misha trying to make the diving catch, but they say it fell incomplete. 2nd and 10.
Every play now, a cliffhanger. Every single play could be a factor in the outcome of this ball game. Misha had to field that ball on one hop, very, very close to making it a good reception.
Clock, of course, stops with the incompletion. 1:59 to play in this North Jersey Section 2 Group 4 championship. Montclair leads, or excuse me, trails by 5, 13-8. Riddick to pass, fires, and it's picked off. Tony Stewart with the interception, still on his feet, and that should do it. Well, it's only fitting that Tony Stewart, who has set all sorts of records for this Union club and who was responsible for the 2 Union scores today, one a run, one a pass he threw, should pick off a pass that probably closes the door on Montclair.
Here it is, Riddick throwing. Looks like he was throwing deep and underthrew. And Stewart gets the ball, and I couldn't tell because both teams are wearing white helmets and are covered with mud. I couldn't tell, and I don't know how he could tell who to avoid and who to use as a blocker.
Handoff goes to Stewart. And from the Stewart gets up to about the 23. A minute 12 left to play in the game. And now a timeout called for by Montclair. I believe they have one timeout remaining, and they're really, barring a turnover, isn't anything Montclair can do about it.
Montclair did an excellent job moving the ball. They were doing the things they knew how to do well despite the conditions. They were throwing the ball. They had hooked up 2 nice receptions for good yardage, and the critic just didn't get the opportunity to set his feet the way he wanted to and underthrew a pass, and Stewart was waiting for it, picked it off. It might be all over at this point, but there's still a minute and 7 seconds, and in these playing conditions, a fumble snap from the center could change the whole thing around again. There are some people heading for the gates, but they're looking over their shoulder as they go.
1:07 left to play. Second down. And DeGennaro on the safest play, the quarterback keeper, will move it forward for about a yard.
Riddick on the sideline, very dejected about the outcome of the game, and he really has nothing to be ashamed of. Montclair has played a whale of a ball game in these conditions, as has Union.
43 seconds left to play.
Apparently Montclair doesn't have any more timeouts left.
Well, perhaps they were saving it for that last opportunity. Union here will probably let the clock, the play clock run out, and it will cost them 5 yards. And there it is, delay of game penalty. So that'll stop the clock with 20 seconds left.
Now Montclair has the 1 timeout left.
I believe they do.
And if they do, they will, if they call it right after this play, and if Union doesn't get a first down, they might be able to get at least 1 punt saved.
Well, DeGennaro goes down, and apparently they don't have a timeout left, so the clock will expire on the Montclair Mounties. Tony Stewart ends his career on a high note. Union wins their 22nd consecutive game. They defend their state championship as they defeat the Montclair Mounties at Foley Field by a final score of 13-8. And Montclair drops its first game of the year, and they will end their season at 10-1. Great ball game in tough conditions, and he, by far, was the greatest player on the field today, Tony Stewart. We'll come back with our post-game wrap-up, an interview with head coach Lou Rotino and Tony Stewart. Stay with us. Again, the final score, Union 13 and Montclair 8. 13-8 the final score as Union successfully defends its North Jersey Section 2 Group 4 championship. The Farmers have now won their 22nd consecutive ball game. We have with us Tony Stewart and head coach Lou Rotino. And Tony, congratulations. You went out in your final game as a senior with a bang, 162 yards. You were directly responsible for both touchdowns, the pass to Gary Mobley and the touchdown run, which gave Union the lead for good. Steve Mayer interviewed you yesterday, asked you if you felt that this was the best. If you felt very good, you said, well, after the game, I'll tell you. So tell us.
Well, right now, I feel I'm in top condition. I felt good about today. Coming in the field didn't make any difference to me because I know what I had to do, and that was to come in here and win and do everything possibly that I can do to win. And it turned out right.
Tell us about that touchdown run, the one that gave you the lead for good.
Well, they were playing me to the corner, so I cut it inside. And after I broke the line of scrimmage, there was no one there but end zone, and I ran into it.
Good feeling winning it the first time or the second time?
The the first time. And then the second time was even better because it was a go-ahead touchdown.
All right, well, congratulations on your performance, and have a great college career. Tony Stewart, outstanding running back for the Union Farmers. And Lou, well, I'm sure you're glad that you could call on a running back as talented as Tony Stewart when you had to.
Well, you know, great players somehow find a way to make great plays. I said that last year, and I say it again this year. But this kid is the best player I've ever had in my 22 years, and I'm so happy for him. In spite of the field conditions, that he could show people even in this that he's something special.
Well, you know, you and I were talking before the game, and you were saying it's a shame that because of the conditions, maybe the player or the fans wouldn't have the opportunity to see a great player excel. And Al and I said the same thing, but he really rose above the conditions.
Well, to be honest with you, they really didn't see the full Tony Stewart. Of course, that applied to everybody, of course, on both teams. That Montclair team's a great football team. They're very, very tough defensively. We knew that, and of course, in this weather, they're even tougher. But I was just so happy that he, you know, the great player managed to make the great play to win.
And of course, we know that the sub-varsity programs at Union are very strong. There's a chance you could be back here next year.
Well, you know, last year you asked me what do we do for an encore, and I said, well, the only thing we can do is try to do exactly what we did this year, go 11-0. And when they asked me about next year, we graduate all 11 on offense, and we graduate 9 out of 11 on defense. But our JVs were undefeated, our sophomores were outstanding. We'll give it a shot.
Well, Lou Rottino, congratulations on the victory, your 5th state championship. Enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
Lou Rottino, head coach of the Union Farmers. They have now extended their winning streak out to 22 in a row, and the Union Farmer Brigade continues to roll.
Well, there's no question that they've got a program going on here that starts right down with the Union Rams, the little league that they have at Pop Warner, and goes right on up through the varsity program, and the whole community is involved in this thing. The place was packed, and both sides had nothing to be ashamed of. I think Montclair played an outstanding ball game, considering the conditions, and of course Union rose to the occasion and put it together when they had to.
The final score, 13-8, as the Union Farmers win their 2nd consecutive North Jersey Section 2 Group 4 state championship. For Al Reynoso, I'm Matt Lachlan. Thanks for joining us, and so long from Foley Field in Bloomfield.